All right, get ready because today we're diving into some local AI development. I've been looking over the notes and articles you sent over about LM Studio's new SDKs, and it looks like you're getting ready to build some seriously powerful AI tools.
Definitely. It's a really exciting time to be working in this space. For anyone who hasn't heard of it, LM Studio is all about running large language models, all those LLMs everyone's talking about, locally on your own machine.
And now they've released SDKs for both Python and TypeScript.
Exactly. So that really opens up the possibilities to start integrating AI right into your own applications.
I was looking over the stuff you sent, and this whole agent-oriented programming concept is super intriguing. Like, teaching an AI to use tools.
Yeah.
It kind of feels like science fiction.
It does sound futuristic, but it's really becoming a reality.
Right.
I mean, think about it. Those traditional LLMs, they're great at processing and generating text, but they've always been limited when it comes to interacting with the rest of the world.
Yeah.
But these new SDKs change all that. They're like giving your LLM a set of hands to actually manipulate the digital world, you know?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So if I'm like a developer who's maybe a little intimidated by all the complexities of AI, just how user-friendly are these SDKs, really?
Well, I think they've done a great job of abstracting away a lot of the complexity, all that stuff like managing dependencies and setting up multi-GPU support. That's all handled for you behind the scenes, so you can just jump right into the fun stuff.
Building.
Yeah, building those intelligent applications.
And you mentioned they support both Python and TypeScript,
Hmm.
so there's flexibility there for developers.
Absolutely.
But what about the core APIs? What are those building blocks that I'm going to be using to actually interact with these LLMs?
They've got a really intuitive set of APIs, I think. You've got your Lockhursting for like conversations with the LLMs,
Oh, okay.
for generating text, .embed for creating those text embeddings, all that good stuff.
Yeah.
And then there's the one we've been hinting at, the .act API.
Okay, let's talk .act.
Yeah.
From what I've gathered, this is where the real magic of that agent-oriented programming happens.
Yeah.
But can you break it down for me a little?
Sure.
How does that actually work?
Okay, so imagine you're teaching an AI to cook.
Okay.
You'd give it a recipe, which is kind of like the overall goal, and each step in the recipe, that's like an execution round in this .act API.
Right.
The LLM looks at the current step
Right.
and decides which tool it needs, like a whisk or a blender,
Yeah.
and then it sends a request to use that tool.
So the LLM is like the chef, the
Yeah.
recipe's the task, and the tools are kitchen appliances.
Exactly.
That's a good analogy. I like that.
Yeah, and then the SDK itself acts as like the sous chef, actually executing the tool's function and giving the output back to the LLM.
Okay.
Then the LLM looks at that output, maybe the ingredients are now mixed, and then it moves on to the next step in the recipe.
So all of this is happening in these like discrete rounds of execution, with the LLM kind of making decisions and using tools as it goes. But is this really that revolutionary, or is this just like a fancy way of describing what AI could already do?
Well, what's different here is the level of agency the LLM has. It's not just passively following instructions.
Yeah.
It's actively choosing the tools and the strategies it needs to achieve a goal.
Oh.
And that opens up a whole new realm of possibilities, I think.
I'm starting to see the potential here,
Yeah,
but I'm also thinking about practical applications, right?
of course.
Like in the past, I've spent way too much time trying to get an LLM to output data in a format I can actually use. It's like pulling teeth, seriously.
I can imagine, yeah.
How do these SDKs address that?
Well, they've made it much easier to get that structured output.
Okay.
Remember how we were talking about Pydantic and Python and Zod and TypeScript?
Yeah.
Well, those aren't just for fun. They're actually the key to getting reliable and structured output from your LLMs.
I'm familiar with those libraries, but usually in the context of like data validation.
Right.
So how do they play into actually working with LLMs?
It's pretty clever, actually. So instead of relying on like vague prompts and just hoping the LLM understands what you want, you can actually define the exact structure of the output you expect using those tools.
Interesting.
So let's say you want your AI to, generate a list of products
Right.
with their names, prices, descriptions, all that.
Yeah.
You can just create a Pydantic model or a Zod schema that defines exactly those fields.
And then you feed that schema to the LLM somehow.
Exactly. You basically just tell the LLM, hey, I need you to give me data that fits this mold, and the SDKs just handle the rest.
Okay.
They make sure the output matches that structure you've defined.
So no more trying to parse messy text or writing a bunch of custom code to extract the information you need.
Exactly.
That is huge for anyone who's worked with LLMs before.
It really is.
It really streamlines everything. And because the output is already structured, you can just use it immediately in your application, right?
You got it.
You can plug it into a database or display it in a UI or use it to trigger other actions. We've talked about model management a little bit,
Yeah.
but we haven't really gone into detail about how to manage different LLM models with these SDKs. What are the best ways to do that?
One of the key features is this ability to just load and unload models in memory, like as you need them.
Yeah.
And this is super useful when you're working with large models especially, that can take up a ton of resources. You
Right.
can load only the models you need for a specific task and then just unload them when you're done.
So if I have an AI that needs to switch between different tasks, like maybe summarizing some text and then translating it, I could load the right models for each of those tasks and then free up memory when I'm done.
Exactly. Yeah. So that gives you tons of flexibility and control over your resources.
Okay.
And they also have these tools for managing model versions and configurations, so it's easy to keep track of everything and make sure it's all consistent across your applications.
So crucial, especially in like production environments.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
It sounds like they've really thought about that whole development life cycle from like prototyping to deployment.
For sure. I think that's what makes these SDKs so powerful.
Yeah.
It's not just about accessing the LLMs, it's about having that whole comprehensive toolkit for building and deploying those intelligent applications.
It's impressive for sure. So what gets you most excited about the potential of these FDKs? What future applications are you particularly intrigued by?
That's a good question. I think what really gets me excited is this potential for truly personalized AI.
Oh, interesting.
Imagine a world where everyone has access to these AI tools that are specifically tailored to their own needs and their own preferences.
Okay, paint me a picture. What might that look like?
Well, imagine like a student who has a personalized AI tutor that
Yeah.
can adapt to their learning style and actually help them master complex subjects.
Right.
Or a writer who has an AI assistant
Okay.
that not only helps them with grammar and style, but also suggests plot ideas and characters based on like their previous work.
So it's like having a team of experts at your fingertips, all powered by AI.
Exactly.
But those are very creative, focused examples.
Yeah.
What about some more technical applications?
Oh, of course. Think about an engineer who can use AI to design and optimize really complex systems,
Right.
or a scientist who can use AI to analyze huge data sets and find new patterns.
And because all this is happening locally,
Right.
we have more control over our data and our privacy.
Absolutely.
And that's a huge concern these days with so much information being processed in the cloud.
For sure, yeah. Local AI development really empowers individuals and organizations to use all that power of AI, but without sacrificing that control over their own data.
So this is all incredibly exciting, but I'm also wondering about some of the potential challenges.
Of course.
As this technology continues to evolve, what are some of those hurdles we might need to overcome?
That's a great question, and I think it leads us perfectly into the next part of our discussion. Let's talk about some of the potential challenges and the ethical considerations that come up as local AI development becomes more powerful and more accessible.
All right, let's jump into that. You got me hooked on these SDKs already, and I can't wait to hear more.
Awesome.
So we've talked about these powerful LLMs and how these SDKs give them the ability to use tools,
Right.
but I'm thinking about the practicalities here.
Yeah.
Like if I'm building an application, I need to be confident that the AI is going to give me output
Yeah.
in a format I can actually work with.
Of course.
And I've had so much trouble in the past trying to get LLMs to produce structured data reliably. It's always felt like a guessing game.
Yeah, you're hitting on a really important point there. It's great to have an AI that can generate text.
Right.
But if you can't easily integrate that output into your application, it's not very useful.
Yeah.
And that's where structured output comes in.
Okay.
And these SDKs have really nailed it, I think.
Okay. I'm all ears.
Tell me how they've solved this problem.
Remember when we were talking about Pydantic in Python and Zod in TypeScript?
Yes.
Well, those tools aren't just for fun. They're actually the key to unlocking reliable, structured output from your LLMs. I'm familiar with those libraries,
Right.
but usually just in the context of data validation.
Of course.
How do they play into working with LLMs?
It's pretty clever, actually. So instead of relying on vague prompts and just hoping the LLM understands what you want,
Right.
you can define the exact structure of the output you expect using these tools.
Oh, interesting.
So let's say you want your AI to generate a list of products
Okay.
with their names and prices and descriptions and all that.
Right.
You can just create a Pydantic model or a Zod schema that defines exactly those fields.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then you feed that schema to the LLM somehow.
Exactly. You basically tell the LLM, like, hey, I need you to give me data that fits this mold, and then the SDKs handle the rest.
Okay.
Make sure that output conforms to your defined structure.
So no more trying to parse messy text or writing a bunch of custom code to extract the information you need.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a game changer for anyone who's worked with LLMs before.
It really is.
Yeah, it streamlines everything. And because that output is already structured, you could use it right away in your application.
Yeah.
Plug it right into a database
Right.
or display it in a UI
Yep.
or use it to trigger other actions.
Exactly.
Speaking of triggering actions, we've touched on model management a little bit,
Yeah.
but we haven't really explored it.
Right.
What are the best ways to manage different LLM models with these SDKs?
It's pretty straightforward, actually.
Okay.
So one of the key features is that ability to load and unload models in memory as you need them.
Okay.
And this is especially useful when you're working with those large models that can take up a lot of resources.
Right.
You only load the models you need for a particular task, and then you unload them when you're done.
So if I have an AI that needs to switch between different tasks, say summarizing some text and then translating it,
Right.
I can load the appropriate models for each task and then just free up that memory when they're not in use.
Precisely. Yeah.
Yeah.
It gives you a lot of flexibility and control over your resources.
Right.
And the SDKs also provide tools for managing like model versions and configurations. So it's
Yeah.
easy to keep track of everything and make sure everything's consistent across your applications.
That level of control is crucial, especially in production environments.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
It sounds like they've really considered that whole development lifecycle from like prototyping to deployment.
They really have, and I think that's what makes these SDKs so powerful.
Yeah.
It's not just about providing access to LLMs.
Right.
It's about giving you that comprehensive toolkit to build and deploy truly intelligent applications.
So we've covered a lot of ground from the .act API and agent-oriented programming
Right.
to structured output and model management.
Yep.
But I'm curious, what gets you most excited about the potential of these SDKs? Like what future applications are you particularly intrigued by?
What excites me the most? I think it's the potential for truly personalized AI.
Oh,
Imagine a world where everyone has access to AI tools that are specifically tailored to their needs and their preferences.
Okay, paint me a picture. What might that look like?
Well, imagine a student who has this personalized AI tutor
Gotcha.
that adapts to their learning style and helps them master really complex subjects.
Right.
Or a writer who has an AI assistant that not only helps them with grammar and style, but also suggests plot ideas and characters based on their previous work.
It's like having a team of experts at your fingertips, all powered by AI.
Exactly.
Those are very creative, focused examples.
Right.
What about some more technical applications?
Absolutely. Think about an engineer who can use AI to design and optimize complex systems.
Okay.
Or a scientist who can use AI to analyze massive data sets and discover new patterns.
And because all of this is happening locally,
Right.
we have more control over our data and our privacy,
Absolutely.
which is a huge concern these days with so much information being processed in the cloud.
You're absolutely right. Local AI development really empowers individuals and organizations to harness the power of AI without sacrificing control over their data.
This is all incredibly exciting, but I'm also wondering about the potential challenges.
Of course.
As this technology evolves, what are some of the hurdles we might need to overcome?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
And it leads us perfectly into the next part of our discussion.
Okay.
Let's talk about some of those potential challenges and ethical considerations that arise with the increasing power and accessibility of local AI development.
So we've painted this like really amazing picture of personalized AI and all the things it can do.
Yeah.
But I think it's also important to acknowledge that with any powerful technology, there are always potential downsides.
Right.
As local AI development becomes more accessible, what are some of the challenges we should be thinking about?
That's a really crucial point. I think one of the biggest challenges is just ensuring responsible use.
Right.
As AI becomes more powerful, it's really important to consider the potential consequences of unintended actions or biases.
Yeah.
Like, imagine an AI assistant that makes decisions based on incomplete or inaccurate data. That could have real-world consequences,
Yeah, that's a sobering thought.
Yeah.
It seems like the stakes are getting higher as AI becomes more integrated into our lives.
Absolutely.
So what steps can developers take to mitigate those risks?
Well, first and foremost, developers need to be aware of those potential biases that can creep into the training data. They need to really carefully curate and evaluate the data they're using to train their models,
Right.
and also be transparent about the limitations of their AI systems.
So it's not just about building cool AI, it's also about building responsible AI,
Exactly.
thinking about those ethical implications.
Yeah, it's really about considering the ethical implications of this technology that we're creating and taking steps to make sure it's used for good.
That makes sense. Are there any resources or guidelines out there that developers can look to when they're thinking about these ethical considerations?
Yeah, absolutely. There are organizations like the Partnership on AI and the AI Now Institute.
I've heard of those.
Yeah, they're doing some really great work in this area, providing resources and frameworks for thinking about AI ethics and developing those responsible AI systems.
Okay, we'll be sure to include links to those in the show notes.
Perfect.
It's clear that we're just at the beginning of this whole journey with local AI development, and there's a lot to be excited about.
For sure.
But as with any new technology, it's just crucial to proceed with caution and a strong sense of responsibility.
I couldn't agree more. It's an exciting time to be involved in AI, but it's also a time for some thoughtful reflection and careful consideration of the impact that our creations are going to have on the world.
Well said. So, if someone's listening to this and they're feeling inspired to dive into the world of local AI development, where should they start?
Hmm. I'd say first, check out LM Studio itself.
Okay.
They have a fantastic desktop application that's incredibly powerful and also super user-friendly.
Yeah, LM Studio really seems to be leading the way in making this technology accessible to everyone.
I think so too.
What else?
And of course, definitely dive into that documentation for both the Python and the TypeScript SDKs.
Okay.
LM Studio has done a great job of providing really clear examples and tutorials.
Right.
And remember, these are open source projects, so you can explore the code, learn from it,
Yeah.
and even contribute if you're feeling ambitious.
I love that open source aspect.
Yeah, me too.
It's great.
It really democratizes access to this technology.
Okay, so to wrap things up, what's the one key takeaway you would leave our listener with today?
The one key takeaway. I think it's that the power to create intelligent applications is now within everyone's reach.
That's powerful.
Yeah, and with tools like LM Studio's SDKs, developers of all skill levels can build really amazing things.
Right.
But it's just crucial to remember that with great power comes great responsibility, right?
Absolutely.
So let's build a future where AI is used to benefit humanity and help solve some of the world's most pressing challenges.
That's a perfect note to end on. Thanks for joining me on this deep dive into the world of local AI development. It's been a really eye-opening conversation,
It has been.
and I'm sure our listeners are feeling just as inspired as I am.
I hope so.
And to all of you listening out there, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep building. The future of AI is in your hands.
It really is.
Until next time, happy coding.